Hey guys, what's up? Back again, working on the giveaway truck. We're going to start with the body. So we went and 3D printed a little turbski we're going to stick it out of the hood. And we scored, kind of getting hard to find now, a Colgate toothpaste cap so we can use as an air filter on there, because trying to print those details is kind of difficult. So it's really easy if you can find one of these glued on there. We'll go through the little turbo build we're going to do and the body work we're going to do. We're going to beat this body up a little bit, open the windows up. We're going to take the light bar off. We're going to paint the light bar matte black, put that back on, and we're going to give it a little bit of actual rust. We're going to rip a hole in the hood like we've done on our older TX4 with the turbo hanging out. And we need to figure out this front bumper and the lights. It's a little bit tight on there. It's nice because it fits good, but once we get this body detailed, it's going to be scratching on the body. So we need to move this bumper forward a little bit, and then we can bring these headlights back in to make it all work. So yeah, let's get started on that. So we need to strip this guy down. We're going to pull this really nice Vanquish light bar off so we can get ready to paint that. And of course, I'm not sure on the color. I'm kind of thinking black for the light bar. I might send it out to get anode, but that takes a lot of time and a lot of shipping costs. I know there is a shop here that does anode, so maybe they can do it. If not, we'll just spray paint it matte black. Good enough. If it gets a little scratched up and beat up, it will look good because it is going to be a rough looking truck. So. Okay, that was pretty exciting, stripping that body down with really only taking the light bar off. So next step is we're going to make the hole in the hood for the turbo. We've got the oversized 3D printed turbo. It is a big boy turbo, so it'd be obviously a compound setup because that thing is huge. Yeah, so I've already kind of taken my body reamer, ran a hole through the front here. We're going to kind of line this guy up where it would sit. We're not going to stick it all the way in front or the side. It's going to be, this hole is going to kind of line up with this end here. And we're going to make a slot back here and then start cutting this. And what I found doing them in the past is actually cutting out chunks and leaving fingers, and then you can heat up and bend those fingers back. Is a lot easier. Some guys I see before just made a bunch of cuts and pulled it back, and it didn't look as good. It took a lot more work and not really worth it. So we can do a lot more of it with the scissors. So get at it. Also, the file for this turbo was free off of Thingiverse. It is a keychain. You just got to cut off that little arm that was on here. I cut it off camera there just a few minutes ago. Okay, so we're getting there. We got the hole busted through the hood. I bent everything back. I ended up grabbing the pair of pliers, trying to bend it back by hand. I remember when I did the other one before, just kind of grab, you can kink it a little bit better. If you do break some off, you can glue them back on, so don't worry about that. And now I'm just taking a blade, and I'm just gonna thin out all these spars, and then I'm going to clean them up so they kind of have a bit of a flow and they're kind of a little bit jagged, but just kind of make them look better, you know what I mean? So I'm going to do all the edges. I'm going to go 45, bring them right down to a nice fine edge, so that's going to make that look thinner like sheet metal instead of this thick chunk of plastic. So, and then yeah, I'm going to do it inside out, kind of just keep trimming, keep poking, keep prodding. I got the turbo set up with the air filter on it, so I can kind of just figure it out. I'm going to have it sitting about there, but on the bottom side. Now we don't have to have it like completely protruding through the hood, but we're gonna. So I'm gonna have this guy come up through here. So I'm gonna open this up a little bit more in the front, kind of get this guy sticking up out of there. So yeah, so let's get back at it. Okay, well, after about 3 hours and a few episodes of a couple shows we're watching on Netflix with my wife, working down here in the hobby room, we've got the hole for the turbo done. I've been sanding and just shaping all the little rips of sheet metal that we have done. We got the turbo and the filter. I trimmed the filter back to the base level so it doesn't have that big deep lip on the end. Actually, just makes it easier to fit everything in there. And he's gonna sit like that, just sticking through a little bit with the air filter in the front, just kind of hanging out in there. So it's gonna look pretty kick-ass. And yeah, so we're just gonna get back to painting everything. I started just going through, sanding all these, shaping these out. There's a little bit of a wow in the cut and stuff on both sides, just where it's got a weird little piece on the front fender there. So I just shaped it the way I wanted, sanded down the outside. I did remove the just the stamped grill piece in the middle in the front, because we're going to have a 3D printed one that fits into there. And now I'm just masking the windows on the outside and the inside so we can get this guy ready to paint. And then I'm going to have to go through and give him a light scuff, as it has a flat clear paint job on already. So I'm just going to give that a scuff down to get it ready for paint. And then we'll do our layers of patina and get the body looking awesome. So yeah, on to that. Okay, now that we're happy with the hole in the top, we're gonna start masking off the windows and throwing in some of the body dents and damage. We like to do that with our X-Acto knife, a couple files, a couple shape tools to ram into the side, and we also like to use our lighter to add a bit of heat, so you can kind of give the metal a little bit of you know, de-stress looking, where it's gonna be bashed up on the corners and such. And little things like this, I've cut a little slot in here so I can look like the door got pushed in beyond the rocker panel on the bottom. Just kind of messing around with it, kind of have fun with it. You don't want to do structural areas in the corners. I try not to do too many in here. For what it does roll over, it does take a lot of hit in here and such like that. But that being said, this body does not have body post, and it will just be kind of sandwiched in between the two cages, so it's going to be a lot tougher than yeah, than just being body post bodies. So yeah, I was just in the middle of doing a little bit of work on this door right here. So I'm going to do about a 1/2 inch cut. And then I'm going to do a bend on that side. Remember, kids, don't play with fire. But YouTube's not for children, so I'm not too worried. So it takes a bit of heat. If you remember in our other videos, when it starts to get shiny, that's when it's starting ready to get flow. For this one, I'll use a file. And I'm just going to take that corner and push it down a little bit, give it just some kind of de-stress looks to it. You don't have to, there's no right way and there's no wrong way, just have fun with it, like I said. So that's done there. And then I like to just open up this gap just a little bit more so everybody can see that there's some damage. To it, A little bit more down here. Then I like to use the file and put some scratches in, like it was, you know, a rock that came through here. Obviously this part of the truck is a harder steel, being in the cab corner and the door seam and everything, so it could have scraped across here and then caught the door. You know, things happen. So like I said, have fun with it, and then we got to go through and paint all this stuff after. So I'm going to keep working on this. Just want to show you guys, remember how we do that, a little update. I'm going to go through and bash it up, and I'm going to put my show back on, and we will catch up with you guys when it's time to get this guy ready for paint. Okay, so we're all done with the damage we're going to put onto the body. It looks pretty good there so far. Paint coming up soon. I did want to open up the window like I was talking. So the way that I do that is I make a mask, I cut it out to the window, and then lift it up, peel it down. I've already got it kind of marked where or already cut where I had it. And then you just line it up with a like straight edge like the front here. And then you can cut that shape out nicely so you get what it would look like when the window's down. Go around here with a blade a few times. And then I use a body reamer in the middle to bore a nice big hole in there. And then I'll cut to the corners like that. Go. Jesus. The thinner Lexan, you can give it small cuts. This thick, good quality Proline stuff, it's 0.40 or something. You gotta give it some good cuts there. Get those to pop out, and then they'll break right out on the cut line. And then that little tail I'll just trim out with a blade. So, and then obviously we're gonna sand the edge, we're gonna trim that little piece out, we're gonna get it looking good. But yeah, just want to show you guys how we do that really quickly. And now I'm gonna get this guy ready for paint. We'll see you guys back in a few. Okay, so I've got the body done, masked up, and I got out my iodized coarse sea salt. Kosher salt works good too. Sea salt works good as long as you have a liquid to melt it down. I have a little bit of Windex left in my cleaning bottle from my hobby room down here, so I'm just using that as a kind of like a binder to help it stick to the body. So I put down a little bit of liquid, and then I put some salt in it, and then I put some more down on top, and I try to get it all to stick. And then I take it, so I'm going to do the whole top, let it dry like I've done already. You can see the salt is done. And what that does is it acts like a mask in between that blue and brown layer that look good on the truck, but we're going to put more layers of paint on top, so we need to start putting in the salt as kind of a mask. So what I'll do is go heavy first, and I'll put one color, and then I'm going to knock a whole bunch of the salt down, and then I'll put another color, and then I'll take the rest of it off. And then we'll kind of work that, just work it around till we're happy with it. We'll go from there. So real simple, a little bit of salt. We're going to lose some on the top. A little bit of Windex. It's kind of bubbling up as it comes out, which is not too bad. It helps it stick. So I'm going to put it in the 2 dents on the door, and then we just need to sprinkle some salt in there. There we go, we have it sitting there. Take a little bit more Windex. Add that to it till it dissolves. And then you can also move it around right into the area that you want to use it as a mask. And then we'll keep dissolving it to thin it out. Water works just fine. I'm just using Windex because that's what I had kicking around down here. Although that is running out, so we'll probably have to put water in there soon. You kind of have to put it on, let it dry, and the melted salt will kind of start to cure up, and you can kind of see where you're working there. And then you can kind of start moving that. Moving it around, it like kind of like, it's hard to explain, but like where the salts run here, the paint's not going to stick, right? So we can wash that off later, and that will give us another mask line. So all these like areas around it too, depending on how thick the salt content is in there with it being melted down, that will also act as a different type of mask, do some flaking on the edge and stuff. So you don't want to lay it down right away. You kind of want to keep the surface flat. I like to keep moving it kind of back and forth through the salt, get a good melt in there. So now with this type of paint job, you can paint the top and then do the side. I'll usually do like this body's pretty narrow in the front and I got a good grip here, but just so I'm not like manhandling everywhere, usually I'll do the top and then one side and then the other. But this body I can get pretty much all of it in one shot. So yeah, so I'm gonna get a couple shots of that as I'm doing it, and we'll get back on some high speed here, and we'll see you guys in the paint booth for the first coat of paint coming up. Okay, so we're going to hit it with some cobalt green in the paint booth here. The lights will go off and on, they're motion sensors, so I'm going to leave the one side till later. We're going to do the top and this side. So. that dry, and then we'll pull that out and we'll work on the other side. Okay, so we have the green paint laid up. It's holding the salt in place all nice and dandy for us there. So that's going to be our first layer. Now I'm going to go through and put salt on all the areas I want the green to stay on, because this is going to be the blue and the brown underneath, remember. So, and then I'm going to do a top coat of matte black. It's all going to get wet sanded anyway, so it's going to be a matte finish. It doesn't matter what color. And I've got an abundance of matte black. I buy tons of cans at a time. So yeah, let's get to putting the next layer of salt on. Okay, now that we have all the black done over top of both layers, we're going to add the hot water, start dissolving all the salt layers away. Okay, wow, we're done. After many hours of trying to get salt to stick to a chunk of Lexan and applying different layers of paint, we got a really cool paint job. It's cool effects. You get like the brown here with a bit of the green around it and then the black on the outside. It's gonna look great now. And in the meantime, I detailed up that turbo that we built for it, or printed, and used other parts and pieces, so we got that looking really good. We got the rust on there. I'm going to show you how we did the rust on here on the truck when I add the rust in a couple areas. And this guy is going to sit through the hole in the hood, and it's going to look just fantastic. So yeah, let's get some rust on this guy, and then we can get to putting that in and then finish all the details around the windows and crap like that. So stay tuned, let's get her going. Okay, so for doing quick rust, I like to use Citadel paints. This is Technical Typhus Corrosion. Now this will give you like a base kind of rough, dark brownish surface. And then this is called a Dry RZA Rust. It's like a fluorescent orange. And I actually found out I have an older tube, and it's kind of like the older it gets thick and pasty like that. And that actually works really nicely because you can put it on a little bit blotchy, so you get a nice finish like that on the turbo. And you can see the grit underneath actually hides the 3D print lines and stuff, so it's pretty nice. Now we can put that on quickly just to get a quick coating. I don't know if I'm going to put too much orange on top because of the dark theme on the paint and the body. I might just use the corrosion in the areas there. So I'll just brush some of that on and see how it goes. You want to shake it up because it does have grit or whatever inside. So you don't want to use your throwaway brushes. Don't use a good brush. It does not clean up well. So I'm pretty much just gonna go through anywhere where I threw some scarring down on the body. Just kind of run a little bit in there. You don't need to go overkill, but remember, there's no, like, you don't want to cover the whole panel. I've done that on other vehicles and such, and it gets out of hand pretty quick, so. You could do some just like on the edging and stuff like that too. All the areas that I kind of scratched out and sanded earlier, I was kind of intending on putting this in, so kind of pre-plan it. Like that dent, I'm not going to do any, like you don't have to do all of it, so just have some fun. Okay, I'm gonna do that and we'll pop back in when we do the rust in a couple areas. So with some of the dry resin rust, once you get the corrosion all brushed on and dry, you just give it a light kind of dab over top, and it goes on pretty bright, but as it dries, it will give you a nice rusty look. So I like to just load up the brush, just lightly dab it on. You don't have to put it on everywhere, you can kind of just do it in areas so you don't have too much color in there throwing it off. So yeah, pretty much just like that. Have some fun with it. We'll pop back in when we get to putting the turbo and the grill and the oil cooler and intercooler and rad and all that fun stuff in. Okay, so a little bit of poking around. I've added a little bit more dark into the rust. I let it sit overnight. It's now the next morning, and the orange kind of didn't darken up enough, but the nice thing is you can just use some of the typhus technical corrosion stuff here and just brush right over top, darken it back up. And then I started doing some runs and drips in there. We are gonna go over the body with a clear after to make it pop and shine and get all the layers out, kind of like welder up style does rat rods, but shiny, right? So just something different we're playing with. We've done this back edge here, so we got like the shelf here where stuff would build up and then just run down. We did some of the back window, and how I'm doing that is I'm using the Tamiya panel line accent color in black. You can get this in black and brown. I don't know about any other colors because that wouldn't make much sense, but and yeah, you can also use it for just putting some little bit of shadowing into your panel lines. If it's a deeper panel line like a model, it's perfect because it'll fill it right up and then you can wipe off the excess like that. But being the molded body, it's more of a valley than it is a groove for the accent stuff to get into, so you can't really wipe it out. But being a rat rod, it's perfect for on here. So So yeah, this side we haven't done yet, so let's do some accent coloring along here. So I just like to start adding it in. I like to keep the body fairly flat, but for the sake of doing a video, we're gonna hold it up on an angle for you guys. So you can just keep adding this stuff and start pooling, then you can bring the body down and then it will just run on its own. The cool thing about this stuff is you can like touch over here and add some more, touch there, add like, you know, kind of just wherever the liquid will go, and you let that base layer kind of start to dry in. Now what I've learned is if you just have a line with all these drips coming down, it doesn't look too natural. So I kind of do like an area of drips, kind of like a sag and then the runs. You can do whatever you want though, it's just how we do it. So now this stuff too, you can put right into the rust, darken up the rust also with it, give it some cool effects. Just kind of like do that edge like that. Then now we can start filling this area, and you'll see it'll start to run down. Should get that paddle line on the bottom. Maybe we should do that after, before we let this stuff all keep running down. You just want to kind of make sure your corners all kind of have a natural flow to them. They don't have, there's no wrong way, but just things I've learned. Okay, well, I'm gonna keep going, and we're gonna get it looking like that side. See, as it dries, you can barely, like, it's very prominent right now because it's wet, but as soon as it dries, it just kind of goes with it very nicely. And then once we get it clear over that, you're barely gonna see it, but your eye will see that, and it's gonna look fantastic. So I'm gonna keep working on this. We'll see you guys back on the next few seconds here. What's up, guys? Happy New Year. Where are you down there? Hey, there you are. What's up? Happy New Year back here. Brand new day, working on this bad boy here. We've got all the detail and stuff we want to get done on it. And now because we got all the runs and the rust and the crap and the junk and stuff looking fantastic. And because we're doing a resto rod, which is going to be like an old style looking body, but on a new shiny chassis with new shiny wheels and all shiny parts. We're going to clear coat this to give it a bit of shine, so it kind of goes with the theme of everything. We've got the turbo done. We got to get that mounted under the hood, but we'll put that in after we clear coat everything. And then we 3D printed up a grill for the Power Wagon off thingiverse.com. And I'm going to put a HPI oil cooler out the front, kind of sitting something like this or whatever. We'll work on that. So I'm going to go throw this into clear coat, and then I'm going to glue in the grill and the turbo and all that stuff, peel the windows off, and then I'll see you guys back here for the detailing that we'll add to it after we get it out of clear. Okay, and there we have it. A couple coats of clear on there, locking all that sweet patina detail in there. Now remember, we're doing a resto rod style because all the wheels and the chassis and everything are going to be shiny and new. We wanted the body to look old, but still have a nice shine to it, and that shine is fantastic on there. So right now I have the grill in for its final coat of matte black, and then I need to just glue in all these bits and pieces and kind of detail it. So I'm going to get the GoPro set up in here so we can get some time-lapse footage of that getting thrown together. We'll throw this up on top of the chassis real quick, and that will bring us to the end of this part of the video. Cheers. Okay, so I want to keep this guy kind of sitting about there. I did leave enough room where I can glue the front edge of the air filter and the back side of the flat side of the turbo there, and we can mount that guy right like that, just so the hot side isn't touching the flares. The oil feed line clears the the body, and we keep it nice and straight. So I'm gonna get that in there probably just like that. So I use shoe goo for doing this stuff. It holds up fantastic, lasts many years, very strong. You can use a little bit, you can use a lot of it, just whatever. Okay, so I need to get that lined up, and then unfortunately I'm going to need to clean off a little bit of that glue, but the beauty about shoe goo is I can start to remove that as it starts to dry pretty quickly. So okay, I'm just going to get that set, flip it over, let that dry. There we go, looking good. I'm going to prop the body up flat so when it dries it doesn't slide around. Just let her be. Yeah, so I'm going to put the rad in, get all this stuff done, and we'll I'll go grab the rad. Okay, there we have them. Parts are looking fantastic. The additional 3D printed scale detail parts we're adding to the front of the giveaway truck. We used a 3D printed rad from Thingiverse. Now, I printed this myself a while ago. Usually Jesse does all our FDM printing, so they come out almost as good as the resin printing that we do also. But this is a crappy print I did years ago. He spends more time on setup and tuning and stuff on the FDM. I'm just more about trying to get it done. I'm sure you guys can relate. So yeah, so the styrene, we used 1/8 inch hollow styrene tube to make our oil lines to run up off there. It does have these kind of little fake 90-degree turns off the top. We chopped those off, we put that in, and we painted that with a Deco Art Sapphire Blue Extreme Shine metallic paint. Tamiya has a lot of great colors in their spectrum of paints. They don't cover all of them. They don't have many great metallics in their XF line, and we use the XF line acrylic paint. Fantastic paint, but they don't have every color, so sometimes we got to go over to the art store and pick this up. We actually found this at Home Depot for like $3 or something, so I grabbed this, a metallic purple, a couple other colors, metallic gold and stuff that, you know, Tamiya has a gold leaf, but it's not really that rich in gold. It's kind of more of a doll. So, but yeah, anyway, that being said, I just finished painting our fake radiator, just piece go behind it, and we used a XF 16 flat aluminum from Tamiya. Now this guy's got a little notch in there, and once this guy's done being detailed, he's got a little bit more to do. I'm going to add some of the Tamiya panel line accent color to all the fins to kind of help them pop out like what I've done on the oil cooler already. And this guy is going to mount with that little flat shelf there, gives it room to clear the lines I put in the back, and this guy's going to sit pretty much right in here. I got a little more trimming to do. This guy can come off, he doesn't need to be there. I think it's a part of a Jeep. I don't know what it is. It's on the side of the radiator, though. I've seen them there working on them, so yeah, it's gonna go in there just like that. I might do a little bit more trimming, but I'm pretty happy with that. So we're gonna put that in there, get that all glued up. I'm gonna put some more detail into this and some more detail to that, so stay tuned. So I kind of wish I had a metallic pinks or metallic red so I could do those top nuts there. Usually it's blue, red, blue kind of going through there. Yeah, that's gonna work good. Okay, so with our Tamiya panel line accent color black, I'm gonna do that one top rail just a little bit more. Now I try to wipe off all the excess so you can actually see it running a little bit cleaner. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna finish that up and get that installed in the truck. We'll catch you guys back here when we get to installing that on the body. Okay, I lied. I was gonna show you gluing that in, but it's too much to do, kind of finicking around, but we got her in there. I just CA glued it across the top. We'll put a little bit of shoe goo, just for extra strength. If they do tumble it and they do whack it against the grill, I don't want pieces falling off. So everything else is being CA glued and shoe gooed in just for extra due diligence, extra security on the part. We're hoping the winner of this truck's gonna, of course, get out, drive it, get some good footage with it, and send it back to us. So yeah, she's looking pretty good, guys. All I need to go do is throw some clear on it, and we'll see you back here in a few seconds. Okay guys, that brings us to the end of the body portion of the build series for the giveaway truck that we're building for you. We're putting a lot of time and work into it. This body took me a better part of probably 2-3 days just messing with it, in between everything else I got to do down here and, you know, being an adult and having adult life here. But in all my free time, in about 3 or 4 days, I dumped into this body, got it wrapped up, looking great. Luckily, I already had the 3D printed turbo and the grill and stuff kicking around from other projects. So coming along great. That front end looks fantastic on there. We got that oil cooler and grill, the radiator behind it. We got the big old turbo sticking out the hood. Paint job is just fantastic on it, so I'm liking it myself quite a bit. So we got a few more little details to put on, a couple wipers from the top down, and then we are gonna actually detail up the Vanquish light bar. We'll just do that in a short really quick, or just a short video I'll cut with my phone really quick and throw that up for you guys. It's gonna change it from silver to black, kind of rough it up a little bit to go with the theme of the truck, just with using paints and such like that. So yeah, stay tuned. The next we'll get into start doing some chassis mods. We're going to swap out the plastics to the hard plastic. There's an upgrade kit to SOR graphics. I was looking at that just this afternoon. I got to figure exactly what that all entails with it, but we're going to order up that. I think it's high clears links and different parts and pieces. We'll figure it out when we order and get it here. But yeah, so we're going to start throwing a couple bucks into the bottom end, get this guy up to point where we want it to be. We do got the TSLs for the front, so we're just going to throw those up on there right away. I need to order some for the back. We're going to take off these Mickey Thompson tires. They're a great tire, but I prefer the TSL, so it's going to go better with the theme of the truck. We got some scale hardware to swap into the wheels, bring those up to where we like to have our stuff. So we're going to build this truck just like it is one of our trucks, no expense spared on it, and then get it out to you guys. So okay, so that's enough about that. We'll see you guys back here with another update when we get into doing the chassis, and we'll see you then. Cheers.